In a modest furnished flat in a gray city neighborhood lived a young couple, Jim and Della Dillingham Young, who were deeply in love yet painfully poor. Their small apartment had seen better days, and their worn-out furniture whispered stories of sacrifice. Jim's salary had recently been cut to $20 a week, and Della's careful budgeting could barely stretch to cover necessities. As Christmas Eve approached, Della found herself with only $187, money she had saved penny by penny over months by bargaining with grocers and skipping every small luxury. She wanted to buy Jim a gift that would show how deeply she loved and appreciated him. But what could she buy for less than $2? Her distress was overwhelming. She sat down and cried. Cried not just because she had so little money, but because she had so much love and no way to express it in the material world. Then suddenly she had an idea. Della possessed one treasure, her hair. It was long, thick, and shining, so beautiful it rivaled the Queen of Sheba's. Jim, too, had one treasure, a gold pocket watch that had belonged to his father and grandfather, a piece so fine that even King Solomon would have looked at it with envy. That watch was Jim's pride, and he often checked it with a quiet reverence that reflected his connection to his past. Della's eyes lit with a desperate brilliance as she looked in the mirror, and with resolve tied her hair up and went out into the snowy street. She walked quickly to Madame Sofronie's shop, a dealer in hair goods. "Will you buy my hair?" she asked. The woman examined it, nodded, and said, $20. Without hesitation, Della agreed. She returned home with her now shorn head covered in a cap and her heart racing with anticipation. With $20 in hand, she searched every store in town, and at last, she found it, a platinum chain for Jim's watch, simple, elegant, and perfect. It cost $21, and she paid without regret, leaving her with 87 cents. At home, Della looked at herself in the mirror and sighed. Her hair was cropped short, uneven, and she barely recognized her reflection. What if Jim doesn't like it? She wondered. But then she shook off the fear. She had done this out of love, and surely Jim would understand. She lit the stove, prepared dinner, and waited anxiously. When Jim arrived, his eyes widened, not with joy, but with a strange, unreadable expression. He stared at Della, frozen. "Jim, darling," she said nervously, "don't look at me like that. I cut my hair and sold it to buy you a Christmas gift." Jim blinked, then smiled faintly and sat down. "You've cut off your hair?" he said slowly, as if trying to process what she had said. "It'll grow back," Della said softly. "I had to do it. I couldn't have lived through Christmas without giving you a gift." "My hair grows fast, Jim." Jim looked at her with eyes full of love and something deeper, something quietly heartbroken. Then he reached into his coat pocket and handed her a small wrapped package. With trembling fingers, Della opened it and gasped. Inside were a set of pure tortoiseshell combs with jeweled rims. Beautiful combs she had admired in a shop window for months. They were perfect for her long, flowing hair. She had dreamed of owning them. But now they were useless. Her hair was gone. She held them close, tears rising. "My hair will grow," she said again, trying to smile. Then she remembered the chain. "Open yours," she said, offering him the box. Jim opened it, and his smile deepened with irony and love. "Della," he said softly, "I sold the watch to buy you the combs." And then, for a long moment, they both stood in silence, gifts in hand, gifts that neither could use. Yet in that moment, they understood something deeper. Their love had driven them to give up their most treasured possessions, not for themselves, but for each other. And though their gifts were now practically useless, they had become symbols of a love that was pure, selfless, and profound. O. Henry ends the tale by calling Jim and Della the wisest of gift givers, even though others might call them foolish. He says that of all who give gifts, these two were the Magi, wise men who understood the true spirit of giving. For it is not the value of the gift, but the love behind it that matters. In a world obsessed with wealth and appearance, Jim and Della remind us that true love is found in sacrifice, in quiet understanding, and in giving all you have for someone else, not for glory or gratitude, but simply because you love them. And so their story lives on, not because of what they lost, but because of what they found, each other.